Joining us now for more is Lieutenant General Doug Lute, who served as a U.S. ambassador to NATO from 2013 to 2017, and also as a senior advisor to both Presidents George W. Bush and also Barack Obama. Ambassador, thanks so much for joining us tonight. The U.S. very publicly announced that these 8,500 service members would be put on heightened alert. You served for decades in the Army and as America's ambassador to NATO. Is it unusual for the Pentagon to publicize potential troop movements like this, and what's their goal?
Well, it's not unusual when the intent of the readiness increase is to send messages. And I think there are two key messages sent by this step by the Pentagon. First of all, a message to Vladimir Putin that we mean what we say when we tell him that we will do what NATO is there to do, that is to defend itself, and that we'll take the steps required to defend NATO. These 8,500 troops are a part of a larger NATO force of 40,000 troops. So this is the U.S. contribution to a NATO response to Putin, and the message there should be clear to him. And then the second message is to our allies, especially those with land borders with Russia. And that handful of allies are deserving of attention and reassurance that, in fact, their membership in NATO means what it says. And that is, of course, that if they're attacked, perhaps as a spillover of what's going on in Ukraine, then the U.S. will be there and have their backs. So there are two messages being sent here.
And the president said that he may move some troops to the region in the nearer term. How would the Russians interpret that? What's the end game there?
Well, I don't think there's any intent to move U.S. troops anywhere but on NATO soil. So this should not be a surprise. After all, President Putin's moving all kinds of troops, hundreds, thousands of troops on his soil. So this would be clearly a defensive measure onto NATO soil to both send a message to Putin, but also send a message to allies. So it should not be alarmed by that.
The Biden administration has committed $650 million in military aid for Ukraine. Just today, a shipment of ammunition and more than 1,000 missiles arrived. Is that enough?
Look, if Putin decides to launch a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, those missiles are not going to stop him. But what they will do is give our Ukrainian partners a better defensive capability, a better chance to impose costs on Russian invasion troops. And that's their intent. The intent here is to raise the potential cost of an invasion by way of supplying these systems. And by the way, these are sophisticated, best-in-class systems. And Putin knows that they're that good.
President Biden said today that he would consider personally sanctioning Vladimir Putin if he did invade. What impact do you think that threat could have on President Putin?
Well, look, first of all, it's a very unusual step. Nations don't typically sanction other heads of state, heads of government. But this would be a very unusual aggressive act. And I think it's appropriate that President Putin thinks seriously about the potential personal consequences of a decision to attack. He's a very wealthy man. Where did that wealth come from? How is it distributed? And I think suggesting that he personally may incur costs and consequences is not a bad step.
Thank you so much for your time and insight, Ambassador. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.